Hello and welcome to part 2 of the continuation of this. If you've been watching from part 1, or you've just gone on to part 2 because you can't be asked to watch the first bit, fair enough. Yeah, we're just going to carry on from where we left off from the last one, so I'm just having a ciggy and we'll carry on. Where we left off before, we soldered in the capacitor wires now, so basically we've got the power to the ESC, but we've got to now solder up those lovely pads that we did before to the motors, and then that's basically the bottom half of the quad done. So here goes nothing. We're going to start by just zip tying this capacitor in place. At the moment you'll just see it's just like a load of jumbled wires, but they'll soon tidy up now. That's what we're going to do now, is get everything soldered and tidied, and then in theory the rest of it's all plain sailing. Because this is, like, you know, the toughest part, actually getting the chassis done, as it were. So we'll just zip tie that in place. Okay, so that can sit there for now. We'll line that up. Snip it to the first pad. I just literally pinch it, see, get a little twist, tin that up, same way as all the others. So we've got it tinned up, and then what I like to do pretty much every time now is just a little tiny blob of that flux paste, or flux paste. Wipe your tip, fresh solder on to create like a teardrop, very small teardrop on the tip. Line that up where you want it to be and press down. Bang. Look at that. And then it's a case of moving that one where you like it, lining your wire up, pretty much snipping it to length. Save these bits of wire up, they'll come in handy for other things. You do a few of these, you end up like you can take your spare wire down the scrapyard. You end up with that much of the stuff. So again, wipe, tin your wire, okay, flux it, grab your wire if you're happy with the length. And in she goes. And then you can just push that wire next door and put on the final wire of this motor. And again, I know will come about there. Snip that off about there. Okay, right, we've soldered up the ESC fully now. We've got the capacitor, the motors and the power lead going to it. That's it. So now everything else gets a bit more exciting now, I suppose. Well, if you're building it, that is. Right, we've got the flight controller, and then we can plug that into that harness there, and in theory away she goes. But if you want to like test it, we have, and there's all sorts of these different smoke stoppers. Basically it's just a fuse which lets in a low amount of voltage so things don't go bang. But I'll show you with this one. So basically you plug that into your lead, get a battery. I've just got a 4-cell will do for now, and we'll plug that in, and we've got a red light. Now this one, a red light means like it's okay. So I don't know why they didn't put a green one in, but there you go. And we've not got the flight controller plugged in, we've just got the ESC plugged in to the battery, and the motors. So now we can see if we can hear the first beeps. Now it won't go beep beep, but we've got power there, and the motors are talking to the ESC, but they're waiting for an instruction. So if we plug in our flight controller, is that the right way? Let's just double check. I think it is. It's a bit stiff. Yeah, pins to the bottom. Pins to the bottom. Cool, it is quite stiff, is that? But I don't want to fall out in a hurry. So we can either just tuck that like that, and now we can plug it in again and see if we get a dee dee, or it goes bang. Oh look. Oh yes. We've not updated that at all yet, but we can do. So yeah, we now have power cutting, and everything seems to be nothing's getting hot. So yeah, that's the first bit. As you can see, it's starting to look a lot neater now. You've got lots of spare wire, so that can go in the old spare pot. Onwards and upwards of building. Okay, we've got the laptop out. This thing's getting on a bit as well, but it works. And we've got the quad. As you see, the quad has now got the flight control on it. We've not put anything on it, just plugged in the cable from the ESC. I've looked at the ironically, this is turned up and it's got the latest version on it, 4.5.3 already, so we don't need to update it. So what I'm going to do, we're going to test the motors. That's the first job. So we'll plug it in. I don't know whether you can see that okay. So when you plug it in, it says at the top 4.5.3. This particular flight controller has got a target with the Airbot Omnibus F4 SD STM32 F405. Already it's set. Got the gyro, the accelerometer and a barometer running at the top, and if we look this bit first, get the quad level. Now we can see that over there. Get the quad level on the deck, and we'll calibrate the accelerometer first, which is that one there. So calibrating, that basically says that the flight controller that's its new level point as such. These are all your UARTs. We've got only got 3 UARTs usable on this particular flight controller, but you can serial port it if need to. But I think we've got one for the receiver, one for the DJI, and then one we can use for the GPS if needed. That's all you need really on this. But we'll set the receiver and that when we've plugged her in on the correct UART, so we know which ones to tick. So that's that one. Then we move on to the configuration. Just basically work your way down on Betaflight. We know the gyro's set in the right place. You can call it a name, so then you can put it. I'll put a beeper, RX lost, RX set on. Maximum arm we want to change to 180. Leave everything else as it is. Air mode's permanently enabled. We can GPS it at a later date if we want to. LED strip if we want it. We might as well just leave that on for now. Save and reboot that. And then the fourth one down is your battery. Just in case you're using high volts, I always put that up to about 4.4. Drop that to 3.2, and that's to about 3.4. Save again. Fail safe, check that it's just on drop for the time being, but when we put GPS we can go to GPS rescue. PID profiles, I'll go to the rate profile setting first. I'll leave everything as standard except drop that to 650. I don't bother with any expo at all. Again, the receiver we're not sorted yet. Modes then we haven't sorted yet to arm it in that. Motors tab is what we're interested in. So first things first is that we want the motor direction reversed, and if you see the diagram, motor 1, 2, 3 and 4, they're all spinning outwards, so away from the camera. The props are spinning away from the camera and away from the back end and spinning into the side of the quad. So that's what we want, because it then if you're traveling along and you got the prop spinning inwards, it's literally trying to pull the quad into anything that you might clonk into. If the props are spinning outwards, you've got a chance of it pushing you away from whatever object you've clonked into. That's what I've found anyway. I think it was called Uma Gould was the first person to utilise the prop spinning out. So we scroll down now, and already it's not got bi-directional D-shot. We can, if we want to, at a later date, put Blue Jay on firmware, which then pretends it's bi-directional D-shot, and you can, you know, use dynamic filters and all that sort of thing. For the time being, what we need to do is just plug a 4-cell battery in, because there's one thing about when you're testing the motors on Betaflight, you don't want to be ragging them up and down and you just want to be testing them that they're spinning the right way. You don't want to be like nailing the shit out of them, because you can blow them up. Because this is just a test as such, rather than having it under load and with a prop on and everything. Never ever test stuff like this with your props on. Always take your props off. So we've got the double beep. I understand the risks. Yes, I've took the props off. Motor test mode is disabled until the settings have been saved. Okay. So we'll, because we've altered the motor direction, we'll save and reboot it. It'll go beep beep again. And then we're back into the motors tab. Down to the bottom. Understand the risks. And now we're going to test motor 1. Well, you can see it in that corner. Let's move this over a bit. Right, so there's your quad. Make sure nothing's touching anything. So motor 1 here should start spinning up. Oh, look at that. And it's spinning the right way. So that's spinning. See, I only put it up to about 1067 on the... That's spinning. Number 3, which is over here. We've got some solder in the way there. So number 3. That's spinning inwards, outwards, outwards. So that one's wrong, but it's spinning. So we can adjust that. And then the final motor. All running at 1067. That's spinning out, that's spinning out, that's spinning out. That one's wrong. So motor 3 is wrong. So we stop the motors, and then we go up to motor direction. Understand the risks. Go into wizard, start the motors, and all you do is press on the motor that's not right. It will turn and reverse again. So that's reversing, that's right. That's reversed and that's reversed, so they're all correct now. Stop the motors. Motor test is done. That's all you need to do for now. So we know that that is set up and hunky-dory for the time being. We don't worry about OSD and LEDs and CLIs and all that for the time being. But that's all you need to do on the quad, and we go back to building it. Because everything is working okay, so it's always best to check that everything's working. Unplug the 4-cell, unplug the Betaflight, and thanks very much, Mr. Laptop, for time being. So yeah, we're on to building up the receiver. We're at the stage now where we've built the quad, got the motors on, ESC's in place, all fires up, motors are spinning sweet, flight controller's up to date, and we've set some of the things but not all of them. So now it's on, we'll put the quad to one side and it's onto the receiver. So in here we have the antenna, bit of heat shrink. This, if you actually want to plug it in like a servo configuration, the wire, and obviously the receiver. This is really easy to do. That's the receiver we've got. It's tiny. Looking at that, to me it's just witchcraft, really. I don't understand how that thing there can go out miles and still have a signal. So we wiped it down, we've tinned, we're not going to bother with any flux, we've tinned the solder tip, and literally all we want to do, I mean, some people with these receivers, you see they've got like a hole in them. So as soon as the solder grabs, it'll take a bit more. Okay, so we've basically like got that ready. Now, sometimes when you get these wires, they're all like ready to go. So you want black, red, yellow, green. So what I want to do, we want to go black, red, yellow, green. Okay. Now when I solder these receivers, a lot of people solder it that way on, the wire coming off, which makes sense, I suppose. But what I do is go on the inside, melt it, find the hole and pull back like that. So find, so I'll show you again. See what that does then, it covers up what you just soldered. Line it up, find the hole and push it over. Okay. On the back side, look, those pins have gone all the way, well, the soldering wire's gone all the way through, and then I straighten them all out a bit, like that. Start putting a few twists in it. And then we add the antenna. Now I find if you put the antenna in, twist it left and right so we know it's not bent or nothing, and it's sweet, and then this bit gets put across that way. And the reason why I go across that way now is that when we put the heat shrink in, because this is now finished, so we put the heat shrink over the top, like that, the heat shrink's going to grab that down, so that is it, instead of it coming out off this end, yeah, it'll grab it down, but then it'll be more chance of it coming loose or breaking or whatever. So I found if you solder it that way and put the aerial on that way, we can now put a little bit of a flame on it. Don't go too much with the flame. And then this bit here, put a bit of heat on that and grab some pliers. Give it a squeeze up. And and then trim that back up, and that's basically like made that waterproof. Water might get in this side, but you made that fairly waterproof. Okay, you can then cut that back to whatever length you want it to be. So that's the receiver soldered up. Okay, we've got the receiver soldered up. With a plug. And when I've done the plug, made sure that this matches up before I've even soldered it up. So we'll plug this in, and then that goes it's quite a good idea to try and keep your wires as neat as you can and out the way of anything that can be damaged. So this is where I want that temporary zip tie, and I'm going to put those on top of each other, and then this aerial would be sticking out the front somewhere. So that's for the time being. If we plug the battery in, we can see we've got a flashy light there. So now I need to go and get the get it set up on the ELRS. While I'm here, I'm just going to check, see if we can USB it and we've got power. Yep. So we even got power, so we didn't even have to plug a battery in to get it bound up. So I'm going to get this receiver bound up. Right, we've got the Betaflight set up on the laptop thing. The transmitter, the quad with the receiver on it now, which has been connected onto that. So now we'll switch the transmitter on.
Welcome to HTX.
Okay. We'll plug the quad in just with a USB-C. You can see that the light's gone solid on the receiver, and the receiver has got a signal. Okay, so we've done the ELRS receiver on ELRS configurator. It recognised it, picked it up, you put your password in, done it through the Wi-Fi. There's loads of videos to show you how to do that, so I shan't bother showing you that. So we know we've got the transmitter and the receiver talking to each other, but have we got it talking to the computer? So if we just immediately go down to the receiver tab on Betaflight, and you'll see these here, like I move anything about and this quad's not moving at all, so you're like, oh bugger. So what we need to do is go into the ports tab, and we know that we're on TX1 and RX1, and we need to tick the serial RX box, save and reboot it. And then if we go to the receiver tab, you should see we've got serial via UART and crossfire, because CRSF, which is the same for ELRS. And if you look there, look, we've got yaw, pitch, roll, throttle, auxiliary 1, 2, 3, 4, auxiliary 5 and 6. So we've got all those channels now, and if you look at the diagram, we can see we've got roll, we've got pitch, we've got yaw. Obviously you can't see the throttle. How's about that then? That's the receiver done. So now you can go into modes, which will set all your switches to do what you want them to do. So the first one is arm, press add range, it's in auto, flick the switch you want to arm, it moves over to the far side on the right hand side, so you have to move the slider because we want it to arm like that, and that's that one done. And then you just scroll through, there's a myriad of them. I have angle on 2, so that's basically like angle mode, and if you flick it out of that you go into acro. So when you arm it and then into acro, those two down basically. Then if you you know, you can, if you pan it, you can hit it into angle or disarm or both. So that's the angle and acro. We don't want horizon mode. That's the one where, you know, you can do your flips and rolls, but it's still in angle. And to be honest with you, getting acro as fast as physically possible, and if you can, don't even bother with angle. You know, you can learn angle after you've done acro. That's the way I say anyway. B-pot, we'll have it on the far, yeah, on the outside there, the outside switch, auxiliary 4. Again, move the slider to where you want it to be, and beeper off. Keep going down the list. Got LED low, on-screen display disabled, telemetry, black box, the camera control. There's quite a few. Flip over after crash, because we're freestyling and that. Auto, we'll hit that button down on auxiliary 3. Back off again, and then acro train, launch control. That's it. So we just save. So the only 4 that I use is the arm switch, the angle to acro, the beeper, and the flip over after crash. Okay, so I'll just save that again just in case. So now we've made the receiver talk to the quad. It's set up to the quad. We know the motors are spinning the right way as well, because we've done the motors. The receiver is now done, and the modes are set up on the receiver. So we could exit that. So I'll do it properly. Disconnect, unplug it. Okay, that will say
Telemetry lost,
like it always does. And then we'll plug a battery in.
telemetry recovered.
Let's just move this out of the way. So we're done with the beta flight for now. So now, let's face it forward. We've got the quad plugged in. We've got a beeper, even though we've not got the beeper now, because what I've done is I've configured the ESC to make the motors make the beepy noise. So if you've still got the battery, if you crash and it's still connected, the battery, and you're in the grass somewhere, you can use the actual motors to help you find it. Okay, so we'll arm it. It's in angle, she's armed. Now what I do when testing it, you'll hear it making some noises, the motors, when I'm lifting it, because it's in angle, you see, it wants to level itself. Let me just hear them. And also, if you put the yaw in, you can actually physically feel it pulling from left to right. Now, because it's in angle, you go in, hear the motor change different from when we go into acro. Hear the difference? Angle, acro. Not a very subtle difference, but I think it's something to do with the PIDs, like work a bit harder in angle to keep it more level or something, aren't they? And that's the disarm. I feel the motors now, and they are just like freezing cold, mate. They're just pure cold. They're not getting any heat build up. So through the flight controller to the ESC to the motors, we've not got an issue of it like going, you know, confusing itself and things getting warm for no reason. So again, we're really armed. Motors sound lovely, as you know. No gratiness yet. Flip over after crash. To test that, we flick the flip over after crash switch, arm it, and nothing happens until see on the yaw, those two work one way, yaw the other way, works that way. Pitch, front, back, sides, sides. So if you're upside down, you're going to bang, little flick over, back out of, disarm it and out of the flip mode, and back into normal mode. You're the right way up now, arm, and off you go again. Oh dear, I've crashed. Where is it? And that's it really. So we'll carry on with the build. Okay, we need to, now we know the receiver's working and it's all fires up and everything, as is. This temporary zip tie holding the capacitor on, we need to clip that off so that bit's loose. And then we've got the receiver and the capacitor. We want to stick that on top of each of the like so. So what I'll do is I've got a heat gun. I'm gonna just put a little tiny blob of hot glue and get that roughly where we want it, and then again another little bit of hot glue on the top of the capacitor, because all I want to do is make like a little bed for them, like that. And then re-zip tie it together. Making sure you don't go mega tight with it, just enough so it's got it like that, and then maybe No, not even a clip tighter. Yeah, there we go. And then snip that off. Now, this thing, we need to somehow decide where we're going to put that wouldn't be a bad spot, would it? Put where the antenna is. Is that going to be in the way of the props? We don't know yet. But it's coming together bit by bit. We could feasibly just stick it down there. People say, oh, is that too bad for... No. I think that might be a good little spot there, look. It's out of the way of the props. Yeah, I think that's a good spot for it, so that's where I reckon it'll end up. See, what you want to do with the antennas, and I'll show you with the 04 Pro, whereas if you damage your antenna, it's 19 quid. But I use the little whip antennas and they're £1 each, and they just get hidden away, actually in the quad and not sticking out everywhere, and we get plenty of range, plenty, in bandos, outside, up fields, wherever, you know. And going out a fair old way and all, never any problem. But we'll come to that. Okay, well, the 04 air unit, there's a couple of things I'm going to show you with this. Is that's how it comes in the box. You know, you've got your camera with the screws in the side. You've got your air unit with the aerials. Now, and you get the cable. That's about it. Now, these aerials, they're expensive, and we don't want to be chucking expensive aerials on a cheap build, really, do we? So we're going to save these aerials brand new, and we're going to put on one of these, or two of them, and they work out about £1 each. So instead of paying, was it 19 quid for the aerials, we'll pay 2. So we'll grab a couple of them. They're 5.8 gig. We've always used them in our quads. You can hide the aerials away easier, very, yeah, more chance of survival really, and crashes, whereas these big clumpy things hanging off wherever you can stick them are the first things to get smashed up. So I'll show you how to change them. 1.5mm screws. I've not registered this or nothing, I've just took it straight out the box, and you lift that up gently, because underneath there's a ribbon holding the top case to the bottom case, but we just need to access these, and that's just a case of popping them off, and replacing them with these. A fairly delicate operation with people with sausage fingers like mine, sort of line it up and give them a little rotate, and that's it really. That's job's a good one for the aerial replacement. We'll screw this back together. Gentle nip down first to make sure it's seated, and then don't go nuts doing them up. And that's it, you've replaced that with that. These I'm going to be changing as well, because we need well, basically it is a 6-pin plug-in to a 4-pin on the flight controller, so we've got to change that. In the meantime, I can, while I've got my 1.5mm, I can take these screws out the side. These are M2 thread DJI seem to like putting this blue thread blocker on it, so that's prepped for starters. And then the best way of doing this really is if you would take this up, plonk that in, we can screw it using these screws off the camera to actually screw the air unit down, because this, when it's going in here, is going to need longer screws to hold it in place, and that'll sit in there lovely. So we'll remove that off, and then we want to feed the camera through the middle of there. Now I'm not going to fit that just yet, because we need the 6-pin plug in there, and then a 4-pin plug, quite short preferably, you know, that's like, well, we'll go over here somewhere, type length. If I can source a 6-pin using only 4 of the cables, voltage, ground, RX, TX, and then it goes ground and S bus or something, so the last 2 wires you don't need, and we'll pick them out on the 6-pin side, and then it'll go to a 4-pin on this side. Have we got something like that came with the flight controller? Oh yeah. Now see what this one's done. It's assuming that you're going to be using the DJI controller, look, or S-bus. So we've got to move that wire into the right place, so then that can get plugged into there, and then this wire, this side of the wire, goes into a 4-pin, and that gets plugged into the flight controller. So that's a bit shorter length though. Again, we only need sort of half the length of that, but there's nothing we can do about that apart from twist and fold once that's in situ. But that will sit in there nicely. Doesn't weigh much at all. That sits in there. This cable will go under the flight controller, come out of here, and she'll sit in there. And then it's just a case of putting the buzzer on, go and fly it, and then if it flies alright, might chuck a GPS on it and send it out a bit further. So yeah, we'll get that all plumbed in. See you in a bit.